Welcome to the 6 p.m. Soul Center Dharma Recovery Meeting in Spokane, Washington. Are we getting me low? Good. Um, I'm so glad to see everyone on Zoom here from all over the country and even some from maybe other countries. And the people in the room, we have a light house tonight. Only 6 of us in here total. I think it might be because I think it's 95 degrees outside. I was doing work earlier and I was swathed in sweat. It was wonderful for a while until it wasn't. I came in. It's great to see you all, and I am so grateful today that we've gone on this journey with patience and impatience, and I was still on patience. And when I started doing all my research, I was researching on waiting, and it became something else for me because I realized that I'd had a deep understanding that I'd not had before. Um, and it all had to do with extending my patience with people who I am very impatient with. Um, I try to see as much as I can things like traffic jams, lines, waiting in the doctor's office, being on hold, getting an oil change, those last few hours waiting to get off of work as an opportunity for practice. And when I hear myself, I hear this old belief that my life can't begin until this thing is done, till this work day is done, or until this dental appointment is done, or until they've fixed the radiator in my car, you know. Then my life can begin. And that is not the truth when I look at how I view the world. Um, so in that moment, I'm living in an illusion. Um, no time is wasted time if I learn from it or if I just experience it. Traffic jam is a great time to just be mindfully driving at a 1, 2 miles per hour, uh, and being present in the moment. Um, my mind may be going 100 miles an hour, but my car is going 2 miles an hour. And it's an opportunity to get my mind going 2 miles an hour. I can speed it up really fast. I can go from 0 to 1 million in 1 second. Um, I've done it before. So I know I can speed it up again, but it's that opportunity to slow myself down. Um, John Lennon said in a song called Beautiful Boy, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. I thought that's not the quote I always say. I've always said life is what happens to you when you're waiting in line. I'm like, well, where did that come from? I said. And I looked it up and I could find it nowhere, online anyway. It may exist. There's actually the possibility that I changed John Lennon's line to match John's world, right? Um, I'm not making other plans. I'm waiting in line. And I may have arrived at that while waiting in line. Life is what happens while you're waiting in line. Because I seem to remember being in a safe way when I said that to myself. It may have been the first time I said it to myself. It may have been the 100th. It's hard to tell. When I looked it up, what other wise people thought about it, there was Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Um, Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. The only time I can watch a flower grow is not in real time. I need to see one of those speeded up film things. But if I watch one of those and realize that's happening over a long period of time, I can see how patient nature is. And nature, while being patient, takes one little seed. We'll borrow from the New Testament today. One, this teeny mustard seed, and turns it into an entire tree. Big, huge tree. Trees that are slow to grow bear the best fruit. That's Moliere. And I can't remember his name, but the guy who wrote Winnie the Pooh said, "Why is patience so important? Because it makes us pay attention." The one that matches a lot for me is actually a quote on impatience. It says, "Impatience is a fast horse with a bad rider." So I saw this and I thought, okay, that's really good and that's really useful for those of us who are alcoholic or addicted or have food disorders or uh, sexual addictions. It's all those apply. But when I go into the deeper application, I can see more. Um, and I might go a little long, just a little long today, but I feel like what I saw, I want to share. So this week, I was like, I'm just going to not go on Facebook. And I thought, well, what if I went on Facebook and just practiced wise speech and go ahead and go to those places that make me angry? When I was practicing wise speech, the first observation I made about myself was I quit becoming angry. It was the weirdest thing. Well, I'm not going to speak to hurt anybody, which made me think that maybe that's something I wanted to do was to be a little snide guy. You know, I like that in a lot of ways, but I'm growing to where I like it less than I like not being that way. And what I found was people just gave up on me. It's like I'm just not gonna. They would say I'm just not gonna talk to you anymore, and I'm go okay. I just say okay. We're, you laid down a boundary. You don't want to speak anymore, and I'm going to honor that boundary. But as long as I was there, I would say what my truth was, and a lot of it for me is with climate change. And the hardest lesson for me in that is understanding. And it's not patience like waiting for them to change, it's a different kind of patience. It's understanding that many people will not change as fast as I would like to help mitigate the effects of the damage we are doing to ourselves. And to be patient and generous and kind and truthful and speak, you know, thinking, is it helpful? Is it important? Is it kind? Speak in that way, still hold true to my beliefs without feeling the need to beat someone over the head with information or with just being plain mean. So it was a good exercise for me to do that, to just go on and make sure I practiced wise speech. I always thought wise speech when I went on wise speech, wise listening, hear what they're afraid of. Because it's scary. The idea of changing is scary. And if you agree with climate change scientists or the scientists who support it, it suggests change. Then there was the deeper part. It was the looking at John as an addict. And I'm like, if I am not a hypocrite, I can see that many things that I could change that would help with the crisis occurring. I don't know if I'm willing to change yet. Am I willing to give up beef and pork, to give up seafood that's running in short supply, I should say? Not order everything that I want off of Amazon or, at Costco. Not flying a jet. That's when patience becomes an invitation for self exploration. And what am I willing to change? What is the middle path for me? And I still don't know what that is. But I do know that even I would resist, like an addict would resist some of the changes that would be necessary for me to be 100% real with my beliefs and practicing them. So there's that second layer of patience. Those of us who know that we need to change, but who would struggle to change. And then the third layer, I realized that every person who I knew who was a food addict who wouldn't change, some died. Who was an addict and wouldn't change, many died. Who was an alcoholic and wouldn't change, many died. And those that are alive, understanding that some of these changes may take longer than what I can conceptualize. And even with myself, with my eating disorder, so much harder for me than smoking was, than marijuana was, than alcohol was. So much harder. And now I take a medicine to help, and I do it unapologetically because it does help. But extending that generosity, that kindness to people who struggle. Um, those of us who've read the New Testament, Jesus did that a lot. And I'm not saying we all should become Christian, but Jesus extended generosity to people who were struggling and displayed patience with them. Buddha, when he did a sermon with the flower, and one person smiled and recognized what he was teaching. I don't imagine he thought everyone else had failed in that teaching. I think he just knows it takes whatever it takes for that teaching to take root. and patience with ourselves at that deeper level, like I said, with my eating addiction. Not being on the pace that is away from nature, being on the pace that is natural, is sustainable, is the middle path. And sometimes it takes a long time and many attempts. So I just want to take a few minutes in silence. I won't chant because I did take a while to speak. But follow our breath and feel like in that time we're in a doctor's office. We're back waiting to meet the doctor. We're in a room with no magazines and no cell phone. Cell phones help so much during those times to distract us. Nothing but waiting for the doctor to arrive. Just breathing and being in that waiting and finding the lusciousness of the moment arising in that moment of waiting and seeing waiting as a practice that gives us much patience and generosity. Starting now. Okay. I want to do something very different and controversial. So I do this, I sing this every morning in the shower, other than my metta singing. And the Serenity Prayer was written by Reinhold Niebuhr before 12 Steps ever came about. Um, and many of the things in there have huge Buddhist principles, which I think is why they work so well. And many of the slogans you hear in some meetings come from that full prayer. So I sing the full prayer. I change some words. I change sinful. I don't like that word. To fearful. I changed a few others, but that's one big one. So I'll go ahead and sing it. And just give us. Om. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living my life one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. Accepting hardship is the pathway to peace. Trusting all will turn out right. Taking this fearful world just as it is, not as I would have it be. That I may be reasonably happy in this world and supremely happy in the next. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change those things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Namaste.